It's another Wednesday in the books, June 22nd, 2022. Welcome to Hump Day with Kendell, Hump Day Real Estate with Kendell. I forget where what I'm actually promoting here, right? Hump Day Real Estate with Kendell, June 22nd. The summer is just moving forward. And today we're going to talk about what people are talking about in the market, and we're going to talk about what first-time home buyers should be looking out for and things to avoid while applying for a home loan. And that part is for everybody. Recession. Does it? Oh, let's do this. I did something wrong. Let's go back. Share my screen. There we go. Recession. Does it equal a housing crisis? As we see on this chart, in 1980, home prices were at 6.1%. So they didn't go down. They stayed up around 6%. In 1981, in that recession, home prices they went down, but they didn't go below the national average. In 1991, home prices went down 1.9%. In 2000, home prices went back up 6.6%. And then the recession that was mortgage and real estate industry based took almost a 20% hit in home price value. But then we come back to 2020, which we're really talking more about the pandemic and all of that stuff. Home prices rose 6.6%. So when we're talking about recession, I tell people this all the time, recession is not predicated on the real estate industry. Could the real estate industry actually have some after effects from the recession? Yes, but it does not mean housing prices will drop almost 20% like they did in 2008. We have to remember our past, but then we have to understand the previous situations before then, and that everything that happens is not going to, when it comes back around, it's not going to come back around the exact same way. Most of the time, most of these recessions were all in other industries. Did some of the industries take hit? Yes, some of them did, some of them didn't. Real estate in 2020 took a spike and has been thriving up until today. And still there's a huge demand for housing. So we gotta keep that stuff in mind. Inflation. When you hear about inflation, is that keeping you on the fence? We have to know that housing is an asset, and like that chart showed, a little bit of the sales, but we have other charts as well, that housing prices typically grow in value. They don't normally go down. That chart we just had just showed you that 2008 and 1991 were the only times that the home values dropped, with 2008 having the biggest drop. 1991, almost less than 2%. So we have to remember, and here the chief economist of Zonda says that if you have a cash and you're expecting inflation, you want to think through where you can put your money. And housing is commonly looked at as a good inflation hedge. That's been forever, folks. Because what did the chart that I just showed you actually really put out there to you? It showed you that home prices, housing value normally bounce back. They normally bounce back. And that's just the bottom line. What does mortgage help stabilize? your mortgage helps stabilize your monthly housing costs. Well, okay, let's see. A fixed rate mortgage allows you to maintain the biggest portion of housing expenses at the same payment. That doesn't happen with your rent. I was just talking to a client yesterday, and the client is renting, and had she not went into month to month, which went up, of course, with that additional $500 they charge you to go into a month to month lease, the rent would have been somewhere around $1,700, but that was previous. Had she signed a new lease, it would have went up $100, $1,800. So regardless, rents are going to continue to go up. And with the where we are right now with inflation and all, there are more people coming with the higher interest rates. There's more people coming out of the real estate buying market and going into the rental market. So what does that now mean? It now means that there are more renters than properties to rent. And then what are the landlords going to do? They're going to increase the rents. So if you're paying $3,000 this year, if the landlord takes what he can do is increase the rent 5 to 10% a year, that if you're at 10%, your rent next year will be $3,300. But your mortgage payment stabilizes your expenses, your monthly costs. Buying goes right into it. Buying protects you from rising rents. So back to the same point. Homeowners are shielded from mounting rental prices because their cost is fixed. Regardless of what's happening in the market, tangible assets like real estate get more valuable over time, which makes buying a home a good way to spend your money during the inflationary times. Folks, we need to educate ourselves. Look at history. Since everybody want to go back and talk about different things in history, let's talk about the one thing. The one thing that we do know, and if you talk to folks who have been pretty wealthy and all, they all take their money out of the stock market and they put it in the real estate. So if you're 18, 21, if you're old enough to be able to rent, take care of yourself, have your own income, you may want to look at the possibility of purchasing a property. And it's not always to purchase a property to live in. You can purchase a property to rent out as your first property. You may want the safety net of renting from someone and then you being a landlord and then taking the funds from that and also helping pay for your rent or increase and help you buy other assets. So this is what we need to be thinking about in 2022, and 23 is right around the corner. So that's the first thing I wanted to speak about. Now the next thing about is the things to avoid. The things to avoid after applying for a home. One of the big things is do not make large lump sum deposits. Lenders need to source your money, and cash isn't easily traceable. Before deposits of any amount of cash into your accounts, discuss the proper way to document transactions with your loan officer. So for instance, if you go to purchase a home and Uncle Charlie wants to give you $5,000, Uncle Charlie can't bring that money out of the clear thin air and pass it on to you, and then you will be able to use it to purchase a home. Uncle Charlie will have to show that you can trace that money. That money has to go in the bank. It can't come from the shoebox. It has to go in the bank. I believe they also have to show that that money has been in the bank for at least 30 days and then check written to you or transferred or however. and then it hits your bank account. It has to be in there for X amount of times. The lender can explain that better. I'm not a lender. But that's how the lender can source those funds. Oh man, this is the right big one. Don't make any big purchases. It's not just home related purchases that could disqualify you from your loan. Any large purchases can be a red flag for lenders. People with new debt have a higher debt to income ratio. How much that you have to compare to your monthly income, that's what debt to income ratio is. Since higher ratios make it much riskier loan for borrowers, the borrowers may not qualify for their mortgages. So resist the temptation of making those large purchases, even if it's furniture or appliances. You buy the furniture, you buy the car, you buy another house, you buy things on credit because your credit score went up after you sign on a dotted line on the new purchase of your home, not before. So watch out for that, folks. The next thing to avoid is do not co-sign for anybody. If you're buying a home, do not co-sign. You got kids going to college or whatever, you cannot co-sign. You need that home so that when they come back home, they have somewhere to come stay when they come back to visit you. Do not do it. When you co-sign for a loan, you're making yourself accountable for that loan success and repayment. With the obligation comes a higher debt to income ratio as well. Even if you promise you won't be the one making the payments, your lender will have to count the payments against you. You don't want to do this, folks. This is something that you don't want to do. Don't switch bank accounts. Switching bank accounts, that becomes, lenders need to source and track your assets. That task is much easier when there's consistency among your accounts. Before you transfer any money, speak with your loan officer. Folks, you have to do it. Can't just move money from here to there. That also, not only does it make it harder for the lender to track, it actually also it looks suspicious. Folks are moving money all over the place. Why are you moving money all over the place? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So be careful with that. Don't apply for any new credit. Don't apply for any new credit. It's almost the same as the other things we're talking about. Don't make no purchases. Don't apply for any new credit. Another thing is don't close any accounts. Many buyers believe having less available credit makes them less risky and more likely to get approved. This is not true. A major component of your score is the length and depth of credit history, as opposed to just your payment history. And your total usage of credit as a percentage of available credit. Closing accounts has negative impact on both those aspects of your score. So folks, don't listen to your cousin, friend, family member, mom or dad who doesn't know. You're thinking about purchasing a home. Do not close accounts. Even if you're talking to the credit so-called expert, you talk to your lender first before you do whatever that person advises you to do. Your lender is the specialist who can make sure that you know exactly what you're doing there. In short, like I said, talk to the expert. The expert is who can advise you on exactly what you need to do so that you can, home buying is stressful within itself. So the last thing you want to do is do anything that makes it more stressful. You just don't want to do that. So the next thing, these are for the first-time home buyers. It could also help any buyer for that matter. So 3 tips for first-time home buyer. Consider all options when the number of homes for sale is low. Consider all options. So this is the article from Bankrate. I'm gonna read from what Bankrate says. Today, there are far more buyers in the market than there are homes available for sale. When that happens, it's a good idea to do what you can to increase your pool of options. That could mean expanding your search to include additional housing types. For first-time home buyers, considering condos and townhouses can be an excellent way to increase your choices according to Bankrate. Well, those are good choices. I guess they're saying that maybe there's less people that might be interested in townhouses or condos. But that weighs on the fact of what your living arrangements are, what your plans are. Are you single? Maybe if you're single and you don't know where, depending on where you are in your life as a single person, do you need a big 4-bedroom house with a 2-car garage right now? Do you want to get into that battle with these folks spending $50,000, $100,000 over to pay for that home, and there's a condo right in the same community, or a 2-bedroom townhome, or 3-bedroom, or what have you, right in that same community that costs a little less, has less traffic going towards them, that you could actually get into that property. And then when things actually change and you really need the space, you can sell that, and hopefully the values went up and you take some of that cash to help you go into the new opportunity. So that's a good thing to think about. But also another thing that Bankrate says about that is buying a condo can be a great way to dive into home ownership without worrying about the upkeep that comes with the single family homes and townhouses. That's a good synopsis there. That's a good thing to actually think about. Do you need all of the upkeep of grass, common area maintenance, and all of that stuff? Is that something, if you could eliminate that, what value would that bring to your life? So those are some good things. Let's see what else they say. Condos and townhomes are both great entryways into home ownership. When you buy either one, you can start building equity, which increases your net worth, and it can fuel a future move. Exactly what I was saying. Know your down payment. Know your down payment could be more within reach than you think. Your down payment is probably not far from what you would probably have to put down to go into a new rental opportunity. Especially someone who may have not so great credit. If depending on the price point, if the landlord asks you for 2 months security deposit plus 1 month rent, and you calculate depending on where that is, even if you are down to a 580 credit score and they ask you to put 10% down, that's just you the $200,000 house, 10% would be 20,000. But if you were looking somewhere and your monthly rent would be 2,000, so 2,000 times 3 is 6,000. You're $4,000 off from making an investment to a property that you could then off of the 20,000 that you put in. It would lower your monthly payment and also have you invested with a little equity maybe into that property. And then if you went to sell in a year or two, a couple of years or 5 years, the value of that property goes up, and then you cash out, you get your 20,000 back plus some profits, plus some dividends. So something to really think about, folks, like this. I mean, these are things that help you in the future, will help you make all kinds of future moves, to buying bigger homes, to making investments for later years. and also may even provide cash for you to start the new business venture that you're looking for. One of the biggest misconceptions with amongst housing with consumers is what typical down payment is and the amount is needed to enter home ownership. The National Association of Realtors shows the median down payment hasn't been over 20% since 2005. There's a graph that I'm looking at that actually shows the median down payments, and for all buyers under 13%, from buyers 23 to 31, as low as 8%. From buyers 32 to 41, up to 15%. But we all know that the normal down payments, FHA 3.5%. They actually have conventional down to 3% now, depending on your credit. Normally, that's a credit score of a 700 or above. These are the things that we need to think about. Like, what are we doing with our money? Folks will go buy a $50,000 car, put down 10% or so, and as soon as they drive the car off the lot, the 10% that you put down is worth nothing. You have to start paying attention to where you're putting money these days. You want a good return on any investment that you make. Make sure that you work with a trusted real estate advisor throughout the process. This is very big. We're gonna talk about what National Association of Realtors say, and let's see if it's different from where I am on that. Finally, no matter where you're at in your home ownership journey, the best way to make sure you're set up for the success is to work with a real estate professional. If you're just starting out, they can help you with the initial steps, like educating you on the process and connecting you with the trusted lender to get you pre-approved. Once you're ready to begin your search, a real estate professional can help you understand your local market and search for available homes. And when it's time to make an offer, there'll be an expert advisor and negotiator to help your offer stand out above the rest. Now, this is one thing that I feel like I'm very good at. Buyers know exactly what they want, but what they don't know in the real estate market, how to negotiate to get it. And some of the ways, normal ways that most people would actually try to negotiate are not always, if ever, the proper way to actually negotiate in a real estate transaction. So you have to be very, very mindful of the experience level, especially when you're hiring a real estate agent. It's not about, there's so many people out here because they know people. They get into the business, and when they get into the business, they feel like, because I know people, or maybe I referred different people to realtors, that they should get their license, that they're going to do good in the business. The problem is, when what you see that looks easy to you that somebody else is doing is not normally the case. You have to do the work first, and then you have to have some experience, because what happens is a home is one of the biggest purchases that most people will ever make. And so when that becomes the nature of the transaction, folks, you have to make sure that who hands you put that job in can make sure and help advise you, number one. And that's the number one thing. You have to be coachable. You have to be, because that's what the real estate professional is there for. They're going to help coach you. They're going to help advise you. They're going to help try to make you understand exactly what it's happening in the market, what your options are. You know, are you dealing with the right loan officer if you don't choose one of theirs? Do you have to switch loan officers because the loan officer that you went to gave you a higher interest rate, crazy terms? This doesn't seem confident. As a loan officer, if you put in an offer and a listing agent calls them and they just don't, the list agent doesn't have a good feeling about working with that person. These are all things that, you know, you have to have an experienced person help you to pivot. A new person, I was new at once, but I just have to be honest. A new person will not have any of those skills. And I'm not saying to go shy away, because a lot of new agents actually have good mentors that help them. But and right now, in these crazy times, you need somebody that knows exactly what's going on in the market, that can be a good advisor to you. And hopefully you would take their advice and you would see a good outcome from that. So again, that's what we have right now for Hump Day Real Estate with Kendell. I want to appreciate all of you for tuning in. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. Like I say, folks, throw the recession thing in the bag. From every recession, newfound happiness has been created. Wealth has been created, transferred. We're in the days of one of the largest wealth transfer in history. So folks, just pay attention, get educated. I'm on every week at 7 p.m. Jump on. If you want to jump on, you can jump on. I'll give you chances, ask questions if I see folks on here. But until next week, Hump Day Real Estate with Kendell. You guys have a blessed day.